How's it going, everybody? This is the Nitty Gritty. This is volume 7 of our Stupid Questions series, where we ask the other person a question, and that person has to answer off the top of their head with no research. And these are usually short-minded type questions. And this week, it will be Leonard's turn to ask me a question. So, Leonard, take it away.
As usual, you get to pick your poison. Give me a number between 1 and 5.
4.
4. All right. And I will say, when I write questions, I write them at top so the older ones get pushed down. So you're getting one that I've had for a while. It's a standard question when it comes to wrestling theories like this or talking it out. One guy who was never a world champion of a major company who you think should have been.
The first person that comes to mind is Mr. Perfect. Now, I know a lot of people would probably think about, Jake Roberts or Razor Ramon, I know is mentioned a lot. And there are certainly cases that could be made for both of those guys. But the person I think would have benefited the most from it is Mr. Perfect. I think that his character was very over. I think that he could have played, like a combination of like the cocky heel who can't be beat and the chicken shit heel if he's going up against somebody like Hogan. I think that would have worked. They had a little bit of a feud around the Royal Rumble and a little bit afterwards, I think. But it never really went anywhere. I just think it would have been really great to see him with that belt run.
So you're not counting the AWA?
Yeah, I guess not. Because, yes, he obviously had a belt there. I don't know how many people remember that, but he certainly did and had some great matches with Nick Bockwinkel that are certainly worth checking out. But in terms of WCW, WWF, he was never really able to reach the top of that mountain. And likewise with Jake Roberts, I think they missed a boatload of money by not turning Jake heel on Hogan. I think that would have been great. I realize why they didn't go that way, because Jake was getting just as many cheers as Hogan or more. And so they didn't want to have that take away from the Hulkamania thing. I get it, politics, whatever. But I think it would have been really cool to see Jake with a run at the belt.
Jake always says he didn't have a title because he didn't need it.
Right.
And I think that would be true. And you mentioned Scott Hall. He comes up with a lot of the times with these. Yeah. 2 other names I'll throw out there. Rick Rude. Now, he had the WCW International Big Gold Belt.
That's why I didn't mention him right away, because, to use your favorite term, it was a very wonky period in belt usage there. So definitely I think Rude's one. Barry Windham is another one. He was the NWA whatever during that period where they were. That's what they should have put on the belt at that time. Ric Flair had left. You're the NWA whatever champion. That's
Yeah. I think at one point they were using like a U.S. tag belt upside down before they
because Rick had taken it with him.
Yeah, taking the belt with him, the WWF. So, Barry Windham, I think, is underrated. When I do fancy wrestling feds, the first time I ever did one, and I was drafting guys I wanted, we got down to a pick 100, and I was like, holy shit, Barry Windham's available?
Right.
And I took Barry Windham, and then people was like, yeah, he don't go for another 100 picks. I'm like, really? Yeah, really? I'm always surprised about how low Barry Windham goes in these drafts that I've done, because he's super underrated. Yeah. Roddy Piper comes to mind.
Yeah, see, that's a good one. And, Hogan has talked at length about why the program didn't go further with him, because, Piper was very guarded about who he was trusting in the wrestling business. And so according to Hogan, they were never able to do the business that they could have, but certainly maybe not in their prime. Certainly they did a lot of business in WCW.
Yeah, and even WCW, what was it? There was one of their matches where Piper won and everyone thought the belt was on the line, but it wasn't.
Right. Yeah, that was the first. That was his comeback match. He won.
That was the first one, yeah.
With the sleeper hold at that point. And,
one other name I'll throw out to you because it's a huge what if was Magnum TA.
Yeah.
Because was in line to get the title. I believe at Great American Bash '86 was when they were going to do the switch.
Right.
And he had the car wreck, and they wound up elevating Nikita Koloff out of nowhere to fill that slot with him. But it's interesting to think, Magnum to me is one of the biggest what ifs in wrestling history.
Absolutely. I mean, he has to be near the top of the list. And it's funny you mentioned Magnum TA, because in looking up some of the old WWE box sets, there's a World Heavyweight Champion box set, like an NWA Heavyweight Champion box set. And one of the matches on there is Magnum TA versus Ric Flair. What from, I don't know. And I certainly have never seen it, but it's probably worth checking out just to see what could have been if they had a longer program. So.
Yeah, I would need to watch that myself. I do believe I remember them at some point. I think that might have been around 84 or 85, but it's kind of before the elevation of Magnum. And, of course, Dusty Rhodes championed Magnum, and that's why he was on the rise. And it's just interesting to think how things would have been different. I definitely think he would have got the belt in '86, and I think he would have probably had maybe not a long run with it, but I could see him going to, say, Starrcade '87. Therefore, we don't get Ronnie Garvin as champion, which would make me sad.
Well, if you have any picks that we should have said of people who should have been a world champion in a major company, please let us know. Check out our full-length episodes and check us out on Apple Podcasts and or Spotify. For Leonard, my name is Chad, and we will see you next time.